Welcome to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. This episode, we interview restaurateur and entrepreneur Marzell Richardson. Enjoy the show. Marzell Richardson was born and raised in Joliet, Illinois. He went to Lewis University, which is just outside Joliet. He went to Providence Catholic High School, which is in New Lenox, Illinois. So he is a local guy. His degree from Lewis was in international financing and economics. He worked at Silver Cross Hospital, which is a local hospital here in Will County, Illinois, for years. And then at some point decided that wasn't going to be his career and opened up a catering business. He is now the owner and operator of Richardson's, which is a restaurant and tavern in Joliet, Illinois. It's been open for about a year or two now. We'll get the details.
After starting October, we're going into our fourth year.
Fourth year, excuse me. That comes from me moving out of downtown, I'm afraid.
It's all good.
So welcome, Marzell. How are you?
I'm well. How about you guys? Good morning.
Good. Good morning. It's nice to meet you, Marzell.
Nice to meet you as well.
So this thought struck me as I was eating lunch at your place a couple months ago with my kids. I thought I saw you kind of working behind the bar, coming in and out of the kitchen, and I thought, you know what, this might be an interesting person to talk to about what it's like to run a place in Joliet. So that's where that idea came from, and we're happy to have you with us. So, awesome. How was my intro? Did I get the facts right? As few of them as I gave?
You got them right. Spot on.
All right. So if that's true, then the big question in my mind is, how did you go from that degree and that your initial career working at the hospital to where you are right now?
I was not fulfilled, first of all. And I was seeking fulfillment. And I always knew, I'll keep it a buck with you. I'll keep it straight true. So I worked in security at the hospital, and that's a great job, provided for my family, made decent money and everything. But I would always see my friends who would come in, they were police officers or they were firemen, and I'm just like, man, this is not it. There's something more to me. And I felt like sitting at that job, I was rotting away because I have a lot more potential than I actually was being, I have a lot more potential that was not being utilized. And, trying to be a supervisor or climb the ranks, it wasn't happening. I'm like, there's still more out there. I'm not challenged enough. I feel like I'm just brain rotting, for a lack of better words. So I had surgery on my knee, and I believe it was 2022. I had what is called a distal osteotomy, femoral distal osteotomy. So they break my femur to straighten it out. So I had a bunch of sick time, and I said, once this is done, I'm not going back. I refuse. I'm not going back. I ran my sick time out, and I was using the Blue Taco as a catering point. So I was using their kitchen. So
the Blue Taco, just for the listeners who are from Joliet, Blue Taco is a restaurant kind of in the same block as where Richardson's is now. It's also next door to Chicago Street Pub, and we've had Mike Trisna on as a guest in the past. It's all in downtown Joliet, very near the courthouse, and not too far from the casino, which is in downtown Joliet.
Correct. So I was like, I said, I was talk to Tom. Long story short, we're using his kitchen, and I said, I'm done. Let me back up a little bit. While I was still working at the hospital, I was catering. So I'd get off of work. At that time, my son was 2. So I'd get off of work on the weekends. My wife was home from teaching. She's a teacher. I'd go down to the Blue Taco when they're closed at night, at midnight to about 5 in the morning, cater. I catered for a couple gyms, Undisputed Gym, Chicago Fitness, and private catering. And I would help Tom on Fridays, trying to go in order, trying to remember all this stuff.
Sure, sure.
So once I ran out all my sick time at Silver Cross, I said, all right, I'm out of here. That's when I went full force with the catering. And of course, God tested me. He dried up all the catering.
Oh, no.
The gyms cut back, the catering slowed down, and it was fresh out of COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, did I just make a smart decision? But that's where I had to rely on faith. It was at that point, it was one Friday. I was feeling real shitty, not physically, but just like in my head, like, fuck, man, I can't go back to the hospital. It was very toxic and draining just from the stuff we saw working in the emergency room and dealing with people at their worst and all this stuff. I said, I'm out. I can't do it. So I got to figure it out. So I wasn't even going to go into the Blue Taco and help Tom because I was in one of those shitty funks. And I'm glad I
can
did.
relate to that. I've had some of those funks.
Yeah. But I'm glad I did because that's when he said, hey, the restaurant next door is open. And it's been a fairy tale ever since. And that's when I jumped on it and applied that day. And a week later, we had the keys.
Wow. So how long had you worked at the hospital before that surgery occurred?
20 years.
So yeah, this wasn't just a dilettante, hey, I tried the hospital, it didn't work thing. You were building a career there.
Yeah, my wife. So we started out when I was 21 and went through school. My wife and I got married. She finished school first, became a teacher. Then I finished my degree, and I'm just like, I'm still not fulfilled. There's got to be something else. And I've always been into the culinary arts. Never went to school for it, but I've always just, I guess, been a great cook. And really took the time. I have a very unique gift. I can taste what's in the food and kind of know what goes with, like a good rhyme, how food rhymes and goes together. So I took that aspect of it and ran with it. It's been great. Learned a lot of lessons in between, stuff that I probably would have learned in school in terms of, just learning how to proceed with certain foods and stuff like that. But once it's learned, you don't forget it. So
was that something that came out of like your family? Have you
no,
always cooked, or is it just something you
I learned how to cook because my family can't cook. I'll say they're horrible cooks, and I have no shame in it. I do not care for my family's cooking at all.
That's funny.
I do think now they have some dishes that they do very well, but I took the long route with cooking. Everything can be made out of a can or quick. And that's where I knew there was just like that, I wasn't fulfilled. So I'm like, I got to go find the original way to make ribs. And that's where a lot of this started with barbecue and cinnamon rolls.
And would you do that in your family kitchen, or was this after? Were you doing these kind of experiments when you were younger and living at home, or was this after you had left school?
No,
when were you doing this?
I started this as a kid, high school, messing around in the kitchen, figuring it out, cooking for people.
No, that's
It was always something. Parents are at work. Hey, they didn't know. I throw little parties during the day. We got out of school early, and I cooked for everybody.
Nice.
Just figuring it out.
So actually, Tom, I want to jump you because I have a question. I'm trying to make this into my Loft of Wisdom quote. So can you tell me a little bit more about this idea that food rhymes? That's a really, really cool concept.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
you don't put beef with apples, but you could put pork with apples. You don't put cinnamon with beef, but you put it with pork. So if you can put pork, apples, and cinnamon together, along with a few other things, you have a dish.
Yeah.
So some things go with foods, some spices go with foods, and other things don't. So pork has a forgiveness where you can make it sweet. You can't really make sweet beef unless you're doing like a barbecue beef or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
or a barbecue with a barbecue sauce, but it doesn't inherently make it sweet, but the sauce makes it sweet. Pork in nature can be sweet. You can have a sweetness to pork. And that's where so you can build around that. And as long as you don't make it like sugary sweet, but you can build around that and then bring in the aspects of, okay, if I can add sweetness to it, what other things can attract sweetness? Then you build off those layers, and then you got a dish.
Hmm.
And that's something that you felt like you had kind of an instinct for, even when you were younger and
Yeah, it
doing
was
stuff in
weird.
the,
It was
yeah,
very
because
weird.
I don't have that. I can tell you that right
No.
now.
And it's very weird. I mean you have to do some digging and experimenting and playing around with stuff, and you figure out like it has a rhyme. It has a flow. Food has a flow to it.
That's a
And you just
very
figure out
interesting
the
way to
flow,
put that.
and you go with it. It's not going to be perfect right off the bat, but once you understand that flow, or especially for your palate, that flow for your palate, man, you take it and you just go with it, and you can tweak stuff along the way. You know what you like or what you didn't like, and this is suitable to your palate, what you like. And I believe I have a very universal palate. So being I have a universal palate, a lot of people the majority will tend to like that flavor profile.
Well, I can speak from experience. I haven't been to your place probably a half a dozen times at this point. First of all, it's one of the places my kids suggest to go to for lunch if we're
That's
near
cool.
downtown.
That's awesome.
I've had probably 4 or 5 different things to try something different every time I go, and I haven't had anything there I didn't like. And as you said,
Awesome.
in particular, the barbecue's great. I've had a couple of excellent sandwiches there. My kids really like the place. I wanted to bring up just kind of a random fact, which is that I've known Marzell's dad for decades. Marzell's father was an attorney in Joliet who eventually became a judge in Will County. And I've known him. He's one of the guys I looked up to when I first started practicing. He was one of the guys who was nice enough to kind of guide me around when I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Um, and he's also a guy who apparently doesn't know how to retire because he's retired as a judge about 3 times, come back, practice law, then gone back to being a judge. And I
Michael
think
Jordan.
yeah, he won't stop. He won't stop. He's playing baseball now, right? Last I heard, he's still practicing law. He's back in the courtroom as an attorney, I think.
He's done. He's done.
Is he really? All right. Because
He's
now I
done.
see him in the gym occasionally,
Yeah.
and I don't know, but he seemed to really love the work, and that's a real long way of asking you: did you have any pressure or any kind of
Oh God, yes.
inclination to practice law?
Yes. Oh, I heard it ever since
Yeah,
I
I
was a
thought.
kid, and it forced me to rebel from it.
Yeah, yeah,
It was literally shoved down my throat to the point it was like, you know, it was a very awesome thing. Don't get me wrong. I can't take that away. I mean, I watched my father grow to the point where I can remember and watch him grow and watch his journey as a lawyer grow. And I felt that pressure that, I have to take up this flag. I mean, this man carved this road out. It's like
yeah.
I'd be a fool not to, but then it's just like something again was just like, nah, it's not for you. It when something's for you, it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, there's things that uh along the journey are going to be rough, and that's any journey. But you shouldn't be fighting yourself when something is right for you. When it's right for you, you'll take your lumps. You may have to study harder, but you know it's for you, so you don't care. I fought myself to the point I'm like, all right, this is not for me. So I literally sat in limbo, trying to figure it out. what I was supposed to be doing. And that's where I came full circle back to all those little secret high school parties my parents didn't know about, cooking for people.
That's really
And
cool,
came
man.
full circle right back to where I
Was that a
started.
tough conversation with your dad? Was he disappointed, you think?
Not so much disappointed, but he was just, it's one of those things where I had to figure it out for me. Not disappointed at all.
Good.
It's just one of those things where I had to figure it out for me. It caused him to have a heart attack, so he knows about the stress of it all.
Yeah.
And
I remember that,
all the
actually.
things that go along with it. So it was one of those things where I tell people everybody has a gift or a uniqueness. He's a very analytical person, which made him a very great lawyer and judge. I have a very wandering mind. I don't like to be. I don't like rules. I'll break
Well,
if you give me a rule, I'll break it on purpose just because you put it there. And that's where I have a very rebellious spirit, but a good heart. So that's why I had to find something that suited my personality. My boss, which is a great friend of mine, Grady, at the hospital would always tell me, you can't work for anybody.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. I mean, you'll work, but you can't work for anybody except for yourself. And he was one of the main people who's like, you got to get your own business, man, because you're too unmanageable. And not that I would, be disrespectful or anything like that, but it's like caging a wild animal in a small cage that needs to be free. You got to get out and do bigger things. And that's where, same thing with the law business. There's so many rules. Yeah, there's rules in
yes, there are.
there's rules in cooking as well, but I'm free to do what I want.
Right.
I can be
Chris,
creative. If I don't want a dish, I'll scratch it, do another one. I can do whatever I want to do.
Chris, just so you know, Marzell's dad, who's also his name was also Marzell, is also
Yes.
Marzell.
Yes.
He's one of two black attorneys, frankly, that kind of trailblazed here in Will County. When I came up here, there weren't a lot of attorneys of color at all. And Marzell's dad and another judge, well, eventually a judge, but an attorney at the time, Ray Bolden, they were the two guys.
Right.
And I imagine that was very difficult for them, probably primarily even before I got up here 30, 40 years ago, whenever it was. But that's why I had that question, because I imagine because of the, Marzell Richardson, Judge Richardson is kind of a Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned in the Will County legal community. And that's probably tough not to follow in those footsteps, at least in the early stages. So I'm impressed that you could kind of recognize that in yourself, because I think a lot of us don't.
Thank you.
A lot of us don't recognize it until maybe it's a little too late. Some of us realized, we all along we should have been podcasters. Right, Chris? Like since the 80s, we should have been podcasters since like the 80s.
Well, we've been arguing with each other over the silly stuff since the 80s.
That's true. So. That's very true. That does lead me to a kind of a similar question, though, because from my perspective, you are also somewhat of a trailblazer, which isn't to say that opening up a restaurant or a bar is a brand new thing. Obviously, that happens in communities everywhere all the time.
Right.
But there aren't a lot, from my point of view, at least downtown, there aren't a lot of Black small businessmen trying to get stuff up and running in Joliet.
Yeah, there's not.
Have you found that to be a challenge?
I did and I didn't. I do believe being my father's son initially did help ease some of maybe the processes they're going through initially. But once I, made that mark, it was on me. Now, what I found the biggest challenge is managing the ecosystem of Joliet. What I found was I cater to everyone because everybody has money and all the money's green. I don't care if you're Black, white, Mexican, Republican, Democrat, Green Party, alien. I don't give a shit. I will play, like in my bar, I'll play everything from Chris Stapleton to Luther Vandross over to Shabuzi up to AC/DC, and I'll even throw Santana in there because I want everybody to feel at home. I don't cater. When you're in business, you shoot your foot off catering to any specific groups. You should cater to the community. It's almost like if you look at, and not knocking any restaurants, but just for example, if I'm just a pizza place, I'll only cater to people who have an appetite for pizza. But like my restaurant, I'll do pizza. I could have pizza on the menu, and not only will I get people who have an appetite for pizza, I get the people that have an appetite for burgers, tacos, pizza, barbecue. So I deal with the makeup of Joliet the same way. I want everybody to come in. So
Yep.
that's how I roll with it.
Excellent. That seems like a great time to make sure we get some plugs in. I want to make sure people know how to find Richardson's, which is in downtown Joliet. If you live here or if you're passing anywhere nearby, I recommend going to the restaurant. It's downtown Joliet is slowly building, I think, a really nice stable of restaurants and pubs and bars, places to eat. You can, eat a meal at one place, grab a drink at another place.
Absolutely.
They're improving downtown Joliet. That project, I think, is supposed to finish in 2026 at some point, and your place looks right out over what will eventually be those improvements. That's got to be pretty exciting, I imagine.
It is, considering the landlord I had before this one. This current landlord is real cool, and he actually owns the construction company doing the construction.
That makes some sense.
That attention to detail, right outside our door is much appreciated. But the previous landlord didn't tell us about this construction.
Oh,
I had no clue. I don't really keep up with local, politics and stuff like that at the time. So I had no clue this construction was coming. So once I signed the lease, the previous maintenance guy would say, hey, a couple months later, what are you going to do about the construction? Like, what are you talking about, construction? What are you talking about? He said, they're tearing up everything in front of you. I'm like, what the hell do you mean? He's like, the Chicago Street will be gone, and all that parking will be gone as well. I said, oh, fuck, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in God. One, I wouldn't be here without him. The opportunities would not arose if it wasn't for him. And I believe that God blocked me from seeing this because he knew I would stop. At that time, I used to be very, very overcautious. Yeah. Now it's just like, fuck it, I'll go with the wind, and we'll, like a leaf, man, we'll do the dance with the wind until we land where we need to land. But at the time, no, I was nervous. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, well, maybe it won't be that bad. It was fucking horrible. So,
yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I gotta agree. Terrible. They had everything shut down. You couldn't drive down that street for most of the time. You couldn't park there.
And a lot of our, we get a nice chunk of income from the Rialto. So the Rialto shut down as well. So it was like customers stopped coming in. There was no way for people to get to me, and no Rialto shows. So it was like, okay, here we go. Faith. That's when faith takes over. And that's where you have to trust God and say, hey, he put me here. Against all odds, I'm here. So against all odds, I'm going to make it. And now, within a couple months, they have their first major event coming downtown Joliet, which will be Light Up the Holidays. So we made it.
And my observation is since they kind of opened up the streets, took all the fencing down and stuff that they had up, it seems like your place and the places near you are starting to pick up. There, it seems like there's quite a bit of foot traffic these days.
And there is, but we're still the only ones that's in fences.
Oh, are you really? I didn't realize that.
We're the only. I mean, they took the fences down along Chicago Street.
Right.
But right in front of me, along the between the deck and the Rialto, there's still a
Yeah.
big fence, but it'll be gone within the next 2 months. So,
Good.
but we have seen an increase. We changed our service up. One of those learning lessons, not working in the restaurant field that I'm in now, previously working in the field that I'm in now, is I didn't know the service aspect. So we had one waitress during the day and just me at night. So service was slower and, figuring it out, pinching the pennies, with all the
Right.
construction and all that stuff. So we switched it. We put 2 servers in at night or during the day. And now we have a bartender. And I kind of float back and forth between the kitchen and the bar. And everything is turned around to 180. It's
That's
actually
great.
been pretty damn good the last couple months.
Yeah, and I know at least one of your servers really does excellent work. I think she might share your last name as far as that's concerned. But
Yeah.
I think your daughter waited on my boys and I the last 2 times we were there. She's just a
Yes.
sweetheart.
Yes.
Although I think she's back at school now, but that was over
She
the
is.
summer. I don't want to forget to plug you. So you guys have a Facebook page, and the link to that Facebook page will be on our website in our, as mentioned, section of thirdsonginpodcast.com. And as I understand it, you're unveiling a new website, specific website, specific to the restaurant any day now, it sounds like.
Yes. My wife and I, who's also my business partner, my awesome wife, Samantha, we hired Culinary Vision. It's Tom Weiler and Joel. I can't remember. Sorry, Joel, I can never remember your last name on the spot right now. But Joel works for the Slammers.
Gotcha.
He's their head guy at the Slammers, and Tom Weiler owns Weiler's Barbecue. And they came together to form a company. So we're their flagship restaurant. We hired them to streamline the restaurant and to get ready for what's coming next year, because we
Gotcha.
know when that city center is done, we're right outside those doors. It's going to be a booming place.
I
It's
agree with
already,
you.
yeah.
I'm very excited.
Thank you. And we haven't had. I don't know what it is to run a full normal restaurant, and it could be a double-edged sword. Being that busy, being right there,
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
shoot you in the foot. It can hurt you, or it could be great. I'd rather it be great. So that's what we're hired them to do. So they have a new website dropping right now. Our website is richardsons81n.com. But once the new website starts, you'll be able to still click on that, and it'll send you to the new site.
Great. And that also, we will have links both to the website and to the Facebook page on our website. I can tell you that you guys do a really good job of updating the Facebook page on a regular basis. I know you have lots of different events. I know you have bands that play inside the restaurant. I know you have certain days where you have certain specials and you do different kinds of dishes out there. Are there any dates that or days coming up that you'd like to plug in terms of special events?
Yes. Our first Halloween party. So this will be a Chicago house music haunted Halloween party.
Really?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And that'll be on the 25th. And we're doing a holiday party and a Christmas party as well.
And I imagine the best place to check for those dates when they get set would be the Facebook page and then the website.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And again, that's Richardsons81n.com. And
Yes.
I think the Facebook page is also Richardsons81n.
I
that
believe
right?
so too.
I think you can. Yeah, I think you can search Richardson's Joliet and you'll hit it in Facebook.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can do the same on good old Google, because I was looking at the website.
Good. Awesome.
Perfect.
I wanted to know what you would recommend if I came in as a first timer off the menu.
I would, I don't like recommending right off the bat. I like to ask you, what do you like?
There you go.
So we have a little something for everybody. We have something for vegans. We have something for people who don't eat meat. We definitely have enough for carnivores out there. So, I would ask you
Yeah.
what you like. So depending on what you like, I'd make a suggestion off of that.
I'm going for one of your burgers. That's all I
If
need.
you're going
Yeah.
burgers, I would say I start with the regular smash burger, but
There.
our biggest seller is our turkey burger.
Hmm.
We make them fresh, and they're not like everybody else's frozen nasty turkey burgers. We make our turkey burgers from scratch, so it's a big difference.
And I can tell
First
you
day I come in, I'll do a smash burger. Second time I come in, I'll do a turkey burger.
the brisket is really good. I've had
Oh yeah,
brisket. Man, it's fantastic. So that would be my
man,
recommendation.
awesome.
Now that I know what I'll order when I make my way to Richardson's, seems like a good time to transition over to our playlist. Tom and I like to do a special playlist anytime we have a guest on, especially one as engaging as Marzell.
Hmm.
And Tom's been working with Marzell on a playlist. And what I thought, especially when you were talking, is this type of music you might actually play in your restaurant, because you mentioned some of those artists right there. But what's the theme for today's episode?
Well, it's funny. We talked a little bit about the theme. This is going to be another one of those non-theme
Yes.
episodes. When the beginning of this conversation, Marzell, I think we kind of were texting back and forth. And what I found with you is very similar to myself. If I ask you to give me four songs, whether it's with a theme or not, those four songs will change on a regular basis depending on what
Yeah,
mood you're in.
yeah, yeah.
So we talked last night, and I would have to say I don't think that there's a theme other than these are artists and songs that you like from those artists.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I think Chris and I are just taking our own independent approach to what we thought. Chris, sounds like you're looking at stuff that might be playing at the restaurant. I definitely was thinking food when I was thinking about what to put together here.
Hmm.
So when we put these all together and shake them up and put them in a playlist, I actually think it's going to be a really good playlist. But I don't know
Awesome.
that there's a solid theme that's going to run through this whole thing.
That's
Those
So
are
and
always
that's how
those are my favorites. They give us a lot of options.
yeah,
yep.
and that's how life should be, man. See where it takes you.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
and maybe
We
that's
live
the theme. Is this is just Marzell's philosophy?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, just even from school, we're so inundated to be, you know, on this robotic track in life. Let's sometimes step off the trail, blaze your own trail or just step into the woods. You never know what you'll see. And that's how life should be, man. It's too big out there to have such a narrow view. It's too big. Turn around, turn your head, see what else is out there.
I wish I had made that argument in front of your old man in court at least one time. Good. I'm going to tell you, I don't think it was going to fly.
No, it
But
probably wouldn't because that's how I lived as a kid. And he's like, And the thing is, but this is what made me who I am right now, and this is how I got there.
absolutely.
If I didn't live that way or have that mindset, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So
Well, and I do think it's perfect for a playlist. So the way we usually do this is I'm going to have you pick the first song and the last song of a
perfect.
10-song playlist. We're going to alternate. So what do you have for the first song for our special playlist for this episode?
Well,
And I've got a
this
list in
one
front of me. I don't know if you have the list you sent me. So if you need hints as to what you told me the other day, I'll be happy to give them to you.
is now. This is not the one I sent you last night, right?
This is, I think. Does it start with
Perfect.
Shabuzi?
Yes, it is, and this is
There, that's the
where,
one.
and this is the last of my kind because I think I feel like sometimes I'm the last of my kind, where people
Uh,
aren't free. They're not free thinkers. They're not. There's not as many risk takers in the world. They're not going to fight for themselves. It's one of those the world where we like to throw stones behind the keyboard instead of maybe shake a hand and make a friend. So that's where I figure sometimes I'm the last of my kind.
so the first song for the playlist is going to be "Last of My Kind" from Shabuzi.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you're up.
So I'm going with one of my favorite bands of all time, the Subdueds, and their song "Late at Night" from the 1994 album Annunciation. It's not specifically about food, but it's about partying until late at night, and that often leads to food.
That's
Absolutely, man.
true.
That's the best. Those are the best nights.
That is true. All right, my song, and you described the cuisine at Richardson's as, I think, kind of eclectic, Marzell. I think you do a lot of different stuff well. My experience eating there, and it's really, I think, primarily just the kind of food I like and what I've ordered at your place. But as soon as I thought of trying to come up with a song related to the restaurant, the song that came to mind was a song called Barbecue by a guy named Robert O'Keen from 1994. The album is Gringo Honeymoon. It is a funny song. It's real upbeat. It does, frankly, Chris, I think this might be one you might hear playing sometime at Richardson's if you go there. But
Absolutely.
it was the first song I thought of when I was trying to come up with something that would relate to that restaurant. So
Awesome.
it's Barbecue. So that's the third song on the playlist. What do you have next for us, Marzell?
I have, let's see, Pink Floyd, Money.
Nice.
Pink Floyd is one of my favorite groups. Granted, they're before me, but damn, man, that just the yeah, I want a Learjet. I want all that shit. I didn't do this for I didn't do all this just for nothing. I did this with the mindset of putting in the hard work, making the sacrifices, whatever I have to do, not just for me, but to create that generational wealth for my family. Number one, I want my wife out of teaching. It's very taxing and stressing on her. So my thing is to build something where she doesn't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about that income. We make enough income at our restaurant.
Yeah.
Two, if my kids don't want to go to college after, which is totally up to them. After being a person where my mother was a nurse and my father was a lawyer slash judge, college was very much encouraged, not forced, but very strongly encouraged. I want to encourage them to be free, but be free with uh, good intentions and goals in mind to go forward. So all that comes back to number one, like I say, God, always God, but two, money. You got to have that money to make that
You
stuff
do.
come into fruition. So that's where money is my number two song.
Excellent. That mixes it up real nice, I think.
It does. All right. This one's a little obvious, but I like him so much I couldn't help it. So Nathaniel Rateliff in the Night Sweats from their 2018 album, a song called A Little Honey. It's just a classic, one of his. It's nominally about at least an ingredient, maybe something that you could put on
Yeah.
pork, if I understood correctly, since you can make
Mm-hmm.
pork sweet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that. I like that song. I like Nathaniel Radcliffe. I've always liked
Yeah.
those. My pick for number 6 on the playlist is called Dinner Train to Dutchtown by a band called the Bottle Rockets out of Southern Missouri. I've always been a big fan of the Bottle Rockets. That's a fun song. And again, to me, that's a song I wouldn't be surprised to hear if I were sitting eating my lunch at Richardson's. So
Absolutely.
that's number 6, which takes us to number 7.
Well, this is sticks out. Like I said, I go all over the place. So Chris Stapleton, bad as I used to be. Cause ain't shit changed since I was a kid, man. Nothing has changed. I'm still a knucklehead, go forward dreamer with now more of a direction. But just because it's a direction doesn't mean I'm on the same road. I'm going forward in a direction with, I'd say, that whole direction being the road.
Nice. He's a great songwriter.
Yeah, I saw him in concert. My wife and daughter and my daughter's boyfriend, we saw him in Tinley Park. Man, that guy's
Ah,
great.
yeah, I've never
Great,
seen him
great.
live. I've always wanted to. I hear he does a great show.
Yeah.
All
Christopher?
right. Yep. I was gonna go with a Halloween theme, and I was gonna go with it even more when Marzell mentioned they had having a Halloween party coming up. But it's a sad slow song, and I don't feel like one of those fits right now. So I'm gonna go. This is a little bit of a slow song, but it just kept coming to mind when I was talking to Marzell about looking for fulfillment, reading the signs, of what to do, what not to do. And I went with a song called "So Damn Lucky" by Taylor McCall. He's a younger country artist who's got this deep, beautiful voice, and I think the song highlights his voice as much as any. I'm not saying it's all luck, Marzell, but this is a guy that appreciates where he's at. He's happy where he's at, and it's basically so damn
Awesome.
lucky to have the woman that he has. And you've also talked
Absolutely.
about that with your wife and being your partner and everything. So
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
that's a
that's
good
my
one.
song.
I like that. I like that
Me
because the
too.
thing is, everything's timing, man. One
Yeah.
wrong left turn at the wrong minute, I would have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all timing.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I like the idea behind it. I haven't heard the song, so I got to listen to that one. So my final pick for the playlist is, and they're all three of my songs are fairly similar. Again, I get a real kind of Texas vibe from your place, and I don't know why that is. There's nothing about your history that indicates you've spent much time in the Southwest, or at least
You're
nothing we
spot
talked
on
about.
though. You're spot on.
Uh,
That's what we're going for.
but your food feels Texas, which I love. It's some of my favorite cuisine. And there's a song called "Texas Cookin'" by another old guy, old kind of countryish guy named Guy Clark from the album Keepers. And it's a
Hmm.
live version of his song "Texas Cookin'," and it's just a ton of fun. Again, it's upbeat. As Chris said, I think this playlist has kind of more of an upbeat feel, more of an optimistic feel, and all three of my songs, although they're definitely about food and eating, they're all real upbeat about all that. So that'll be
Awesome.
the second to last song on the playlist, which gives you the honor of the final song. And what do you got?
The final song is Kendrick Lamar, "The King's Dead,"
Uh,
and to me, that just speaks a lot of. This is, pardon my French, a big fuck you to all the people who never thought I'd be here and didn't think I'd make it. And
I love it.
everybody who doubted me, I'm sorry to say it, fuck you. I'm here. I put in the work. And I've been waiting to say that a long time. And so nah, I'm still putting in the work, buddy. So
So Chris, if you hadn't already figured out why I thought Marzell would be a good guest, I think you got it now.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
pretty
That's
sure. And
fantastic.
that's awesome. Those are if I had thought about it, if I'd heard that song sooner, I would have picked some others because those are some of my favorite songs, which are the "fuck you," "take that" type of songs, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah.
it's a great choice.
Absolutely.
Well, I think this is going to be a hell of a playlist. This playlist will go up. Actually, by the time you hear this episode, it will already be up streaming wherever you listen to your music: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Look for this playlist. I haven't come up with the title for the list, but the subtitle will be a third song in playlist. So if you search third song in on your music streamers, you should be able to find this special playlist as well as our season-long playlist that Chris and I do, and we'll talk about that later. But I think it's a great one, Marzell. I'm looking forward to it. I hate to admit I may be the leading listener to most of the playlists we make, and I
That's
will
awesome.
definitely I'm going to listen to this one a ton. I can tell you already.
Yep.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Cannot thank you enough for the time you took to talk to us. We have tried to interview creative people. And when we started this, we were talking about people we might be able to have as guests. And they generally started with our best friends because we knew they wouldn't say no.
Right.
But we also wanted to look for creative people, people that write, people that sing, musicians and artists, visual artists, those kind of things. And as I was sitting in your restaurant that day, I thought this is a very creative type of thing that you're doing. It's business, and I'm sure the business side can be a real pain. But I really like what you're doing with the place, and I really felt like this would be a good look into how you can use a creative personality in something that's not like your traditional, I'm in a band or I wrote this book kind of situation. So I can't tell you how happy I am that you said yeah, and we're going to be looking. Oh, I'm going to be in there just checking things out and eating on a regular basis. But I can't
Awesome.
wait to see how things open up when Joliet finishes their beautification projects.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, and I hope this isn't too corny, but it's really cool. I've been inspired by you. You're a true artist, and I think it's I love what
Thank you.
I love Tom's insight into finding an artist in an area that you may not always think about as being art. But I mean, we invest our time and energy in the places that we want to eat. And if I was out in Joliet and then when I come out to visit Tom, yours is
Yep.
going to be the first place we go to because you're the exact type of person that deserves business. You deserve a loyal customer base, and you've created one way out here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So I can't wait to get to your restaurant.
Well, I can't wait to have you, buddy. You like whiskey?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, first round's on me. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
Second and third are on me then, because
Yeah, well, I'm looking
I
forward to it.
appreciate that.
Perfect.
I do want to give a shout out to another pub owner downtown Joliet because I don't think I would have gotten you on this podcast without the help of Mike Trisna. He was my intermediary. I know you guys have been working together to strengthen that downtown area and really make it a place for people to go. And I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I don't know Marzell. Could you ask him if he might be?" It was kind of like we were third graders and I was passing notes.
Triz is a true inspiration. I'm gonna tell you right now, when I first got the place, I say, "Hey, can you please guide me as I eat?" One thing, you got to come in humble, man. I'm a kitten in this stage. I don't have my mane yet. I'm starting to see a little hair up there, not up here, but back there. But being a kitten, man, these guys are lions. They've been there a while. You got to ask them how to roar, how to hunt in terms of the business aspect. So you humble yourself and you ask, "Hey, what do I do?" And that saves you some steps. Humility will save you some. Being humble will save you some steps.
Yep.
And man, he open arms said, "Okay, here, this is what you do."
Yeah,
And him and Kathy have been awesome, man. I hats off. Thank you, Chicago Street Pub and their staff. They've been great. So I appreciate all that they do, and thank you.
Yeah, you guys are turning that block of downtown Joliet into, as I said, a place people want to go. And not just the food, which is a huge part of it, but also the live music and, just the idea that there's entertainment down there. And I think you're doing great work. And I think Mike's doing great work. And I can't wait to see what happens next. So look for Richardson's on Facebook. Richardsons81n.com will be the website. I think it's up and running now, and I imagine there are going to be some changes and improvements made as time goes on. But I'll point people right now to Facebook in particular because whoever's handling that part of your marketing is doing a good job. Just about every day I see what's going on, specials, special guests, that kind of stuff. And I urge everyone to go to Richardson's if you're coming through Joliet or if you already live here, you need to get there.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate
You're welcome. Are there any last thoughts you'd like to leave us with, Marzell?
Only thing I want to say is, real quick, faith in God, number one. Number two, to my wife, thank you. I love you for rocking with me through this crazy ass business journey. And we're almost at that landing pad. Thank you to my kids, my awesome boss ass daughter, Layla. She's
a sweetheart, man.
Yeah,
she's something else.
She's great, man. She's gonna do big things far beyond me. Last two, my boys, Marzell the fourth, we call him Mushy. And because he looked like Mr. Mushnick when he was a baby from Little Shop of Horrors. So I call him Mushy. He's been mushy ever since.
That's awesome.
And then my son Max, we call him Mackie or Maxwell. His name's Max, so we call him Max or Mackie. I thank them for being patient and just rocking with me throughout I know sometimes they want to sit at home, but they got to come down to the restaurant and just being patient. And and everybody else in my family and friends, thank you for the support. That's all.
That's great. Our next section is Loft of Wisdom.
You better open up your eyes, baby, because fools do get wise.
Loft of Wisdom, it was where Tom and I try to recreate the old Loft of Wisdom that we had in our fraternity house, second floor corner double. That one was made out of wood. We write on it with Sharpies. This one's made out of whatever computers are made out of when we type the shit up on it.
Megabytes, I guess. I don't know.
Why don't I start? Because I don't love mine, but you know, it's truly what the Loft of Wisdom is about, is you hear something and it just happens. And last night, I'm well into season 2, second half of CSI, the original one with William Peterson and that group. So, you know, what, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
And I forgot how much I like that show. And I forgot how much I like Gil Grissom. He's the William Peterson character. And there's a scene when they're in the lab talking to Greg, I think, who later becomes a bigger part of the show. But he's this cool, like, he's in the lab, like, just totally jamming, like heavy metal, rocking out. And Gil walks in and it's like, you know, like turns the boombox off, and Greg gets a little embarrassed. While they're talking, Greg drops this kind of obscure fact, and Gil goes, "Hey, that's my thing." He's like, Greg says, "I'm just absorbing facts." And Gil said, "Well, that's my thing." He's like, "Well, I absorbed it from you." And then they keep talking a little bit more, and Gil drops an even more obscure fact. And he looks at Greg and says, "There you go. A little more absorbing and a little less rock and roll." So I thought that was a good line. Has nothing at all to do with the episode, but Loft of Wisdom just comes as it comes. So that's what I got.
Man, wisdom is wisdom. There
Yeah,
you
I'm
go.
gonna put
Let's put that up there.
there.
That's the most philosophical thing I've ever said, I think. Speaking of philosophical, I just love this line. I did want to try to find something related to restaurants. And, you know, we had an episode probably a year ago now about, we were talking about, and I don't think the whole episode was about it, but I was talking about how I don't really like food porn, like movies that are about restaurants or about making food, where all you see is, you know, long shots of people cooking stuff. And this is probably the worst offender of that. There's a movie called Big Night. It's maybe the most famous food porn movie. Came out in 1996. I think it won some awards. I don't know if it won an Oscar, but I know it's really highly acclaimed. I've seen it. I like it. I get tired of, you know, all of those loving shots of, you know, presentation of pasta or whatever the hell was going on. But it's a great movie. And I was looking for quotes out of that movie, and the guy from across the street who owns a more commercial restaurant than the two leads of the film, at one point says, his name is Pascal, the character's name is Pascal, and he says, "Bite your teeth into the ass of life." And I just think that's the funniest fucking thing. But actually, after now having talked to Marzell, it's perfect, because I wouldn't be surprised to hear him say that quote. He could have said that in this interview and I wouldn't have been surprised. So I think it's perfectly connected to the show, or to the episode. It is "bite your teeth into the ass of life." That's going up on the Loft of Wisdom.
And I do want to call to our listeners' attention some of the great lines that Marzell had about food, as the idea about how food rhymes and that food has a flow to it. I've just never heard food described that way, and I thought it was a really cool and insightful way to describe it.
Yeah, it really does, and it really shows you his personality and why he's drawn to doing what he's doing right now. I agree with you. I think that's very cool.
All right, that brings us to post facto.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
Yeah, so post facto is our opportunity to correct mistakes if we've made them in the past, or fill in information that we didn't have at the time we were recording. In this case, it's also an opportunity to provide a little bit of listener feedback. So we got an email from a listener named Debbie. Turns out she's a fellow Washington University graduate, and she's been listening to the show. She's also apparently a music documentary lover. She enjoyed our episode where we talked about music docs and wanted to recommend two particular films, one of which I've seen, one which I got to track down and find. Her first recommendation was Rolling Thunder Review, which apparently is currently streaming on Netflix. That is a Bob Dylan documentary directed by Martin Scorsese. I've seen it, love it. I agree with her. That's a great recommendation. Probably was a mistake not to at least mention that when we did that episode. And then she mentioned a documentary called Say Amen Somebody, which came out in 1982 and is about gospel music. Some of it was shot in St. Louis, and I have never heard of or seen that one. So I'm really interested. I've got to try to track that down. I did a real quick cursory search and didn't find it, so it may be a little tougher to find. But anyway, really appreciate Debbie emailing us at thirdsongin@gmail.com and letting us know that she enjoyed the documentary episode, and I really appreciate her recommendations. We'll get on those and maybe report back later on what we think.
I agree. I thought it was really cool that she wrote in to us. We've been asking listeners to do that for many episodes, and Debbie, thank you for doing so. Great recommendations. It's funny because it does show that maybe we left some really great ones out. It's described as one of the most acclaimed music documentaries of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Say amen. Somebody's a joyous, funny, and deeply emotional celebration of gospel music.
So maybe Debbie should be doing this instead of us. Shit.
There's a long ass list of people that should be doing this instead of us.
That's funny.
All right, that takes us to staff picks.
Just around the corner from you.
Yep, staff picks is our chance to recommend something that's brand new or something that came out recently or something that is on the horizon that we're excited about in the world of pop culture. I have a staff pick of a film that came out in early 2025 that I really enjoyed. I saw it on Netflix, and it's called The Ballad of Wallace Island. Directed by a guy named James Griffiths. It was written by and stars Tom Basden as a folk rock star from what I would imagine would be like the 70s or 80s. It's a British comedy. It's very quirky. The primary character is this oddball who is rich because he won the lottery twice. And the second time he won the lottery, he decided he was going to use some of his money to schedule a concert on Wallace Island, this remote island that he lives in Britain somewhere. And his whole purpose is to try to bring together the character played by Tom Basden and his former partner, who is played by Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan is a beautiful woman, great actress, beautiful singer, it turns out. And they broke up. That folk rock duo was really famous, and they broke up years and years ago. And this kind of really quirky dude decides he wants to bring them together. So he pays them millions of dollars to come to this lonely island and play a concert basically just for him. It's just a really romantic film. It's very funny in the British way, in the British manner, I guess. And it's currently streaming on Netflix. I recommend it highly. I think you should watch The Ballad of Wallace Island as soon as you get a chance.
I will try to.
Good.
All right, this is actually, while this is just another new album, which is what I tend to do, either new songs, new albums, this is one of my favorite ones that I think I've made yet. One of my favorite recommendations for staff pick. I was just scrolling through new stuff on YouTube Music, and I saw the name and I sort of skipped past it because I couldn't imagine it was him. But there's a new album out called Life and Times by Mike Reed and Joe Henry. And I think Joe Henry was someone I think you listened to?
Yeah, love
quite
Joe
a bit.
Henry.
Yeah.
I played one of his songs at my wedding reception.
Yeah. Well, I should have known that because I was there.
You were there. You were shit-faced though.
I was.
So was I.
But the collaboration, so Joe Henry does most of the songwriting. I take that back. They do songwriting together and he does all the production. The voice for the album is Mike Reed. I doubt you know who Mike Reed is, but I do. Mike Reed was a first-round pick by the Cincinnati Bengals in 1970. He was a defensive tackle. I don't think his career lasted that long. He went to Nashville and became a pretty renowned songwriter. He had at least 12 number one hits. I think he did stuff for TV and movies. He's a piano player. He's now 78 years old, and he's put out this really beautiful, I would call it sort of delicate album. It's largely soft piano with Mike Reed doing all the singing. And he has an intriguing voice. I mean, it's perfect for the music that they're doing. And I've read some reviews. It's getting really good reviews initially, especially for some reason, a lot of the stuff's over in Europe. Americana.uk Americana-UK.com has a really nice review of it. And then as I read that review, I couldn't help but make this recommendation with this little fact. The duo first came together at Rodney Crowell's Nashville songwriting camp.
There it is.
But it's not exactly my type of music, but it's well worth listening to. I think if you like that soft, delicate, poetic type of piano with nice songwriting, this is an album worth checking out. And kudos to Mike Reed. He's made quite the career out of music. Not as much out of football, though.
I did see that album and saw it was a Joe Henry project. Didn't realize though that he wasn't singing at all on it, and I have not yet listened to it. So I will have to check that out.
I will be curious what you think, because like I said, it's not what I usually gravitate towards. But one's got a cool history. Two, Mike Reed was a Bengal, and three, Rodney Crowell's mentioned. So there you go.
Cool. So we're now ready for playlist picks. Every episode, Chris and I each choose a song to add to our season-long playlist. We try to make these songs relevant to the theme of the episode or the guest for the episode. And I think we each have a song for our season 9, episode 7 playlist featuring Marzell Richardson. What do you got?
I went with this song before we had the interview with Marzell, but now I think it's even more fitting. He talked about the role of God in his life and faith, and I'd chosen Lyle Lovett's song Church from his 1992 album Joshua Judges Ruth. And the reason I chose it is because there's this surreal scene in the lyrics where I think a bird or a chicken flies in and the preacher grabs it and just rips the head off. And it's just a bizarre scene. It is. But it's sung in such a perfect way. This is when Lyle Lovett was at the top of his game.
I agree.
And both songwriting and singing. And I think this is a perfect fit between the weird reference to food, but the overriding theme of church and religion and God. And it's a fun ass song, so we're going with it.
Yeah, and he was at peak oddball Lyle Lovett at that point. He could get away with anything. That's a good one. I love that song. I haven't listened to that in a long time. That's one of my favorite Lyle Lovett albums, actually.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the album in a while. I think I'm going to go back.
So I am also delving into the Americana world for my pick. My pick, as opposed to being made before we interviewed Marzell, occurred to me after we interviewed Marzell. And one of the things that we just barely touched on was the fact that Richardson's is not only a restaurant, but also a bar. We talked a little bit about drinking with them when we can finally drag you out here to the Midwest. And the song I'm picking is Rye Whiskey from Blue Mountain, from an album called Roots from 2001. Great song. Just seems we've talked enough about the food side of his business. Figure we'll put a song in there that nods its head to the bar side, and that'll be my choice for this episode's for the playlist for this episode.
Dude, you're too hard on yourself. That was a great choice. He specifically asked if I like whiskey. I mean, boom, that's a good one.
I usually don't, you know me, I'm not usually the guy who improvises as we're going through an episode. So usually I've picked my song like 3 weeks ago, and this time I wasn't quite ready, and that just that came up.
Yeah, that shit don't bother me. I was typing out my answers on the on the script about 2 minutes before Marzell joined. So
yeah, my guess is that you and Marzell would be a good hang.
We want to thank Marzell Richardson for joining us today. It was a really great interview. He's a fantastic guy. He's a food artist, in addition to being an entrepreneur and a restaurateur, if I pronounce that right. I can't wait to get out to Illinois. one, have a meal at Richardson's, and two, to have a shot of whiskey with Tom and Marzell. So thank you very much, Marzell. Really enjoyed it.
Yep. Please look for Marzell's business, Richardson's, the bar and restaurant, which is located on Chicago Street in Joliet, Illinois. You can find them on Facebook. If you search Richardson's and Joliet, it comes right up. That's a great place to find what's going on there. They do a real good job of keeping you advised of bands that are playing, of events that they're going to have, as well as what the specials are as far as that goes. And you can also find them at www.richardsons81n.com. And my voice is horrible today, so that's N as in Nancy or North. It's richardsons81n.com.
And don't miss the Halloween party that'll be happening just a couple days after this episode drops. Third Song In is recorded in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Joliet, Illinois.
You can email us at thirdsongin@gmail.com. Please use the email. Send us your questions, your comments, your suggestions. You can help us supplement the information we provide in our episodes, as we were able to do today. So please use the email address and contact us.
Look for the website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. In addition to the Loft of Wisdom quotes, the staff picks, and the other stuff that we do, we have an As Mentioned page where you can get information about our guests, including information about Marzell's restaurant, Richardson's.
Please follow us, rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to us. Please give us all your stars. Please download the episode. Please let us know what you think. You can find Third Song In on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music. Finally, please tell people about the podcast. Word of mouth does a lot of the heavy lifting for us.
On all those same streaming services, you can find our playlists. Tom and I do a playlist for each season. We're right smack in the middle, a little bit past the middle for season 9. But we also have guest playlists. You can find any of them by searching for Third Song In.
Yeah, some people tell me they have a little difficulty searching when they get on Spotify. They are very easy to find on the website. If you go to thirdsonginpodcast.com, there is a drop-down page where you can just click on a link and listen to the playlist wherever you prefer. We also have social media stuff on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We try to keep people updated not only on what we're doing, but on what our guests and former guests have going on. So please friend us on all those places.
Tom and I do a blog each week. You can read it on our website, once again, thirdsonginpodcast.com. You can also subscribe to it on Substack and get the blog each week right in your inbox.
You've been listening to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. Thanks for listening. Welcome to episode 7 of what is the podcast now? I can't remember the title. It's fuck me. Welcome to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. This episode we represent the Lollipop Kids. Fuck me. Isn't it fucking ridiculous how we could do all of that and then get to this? I'm having trouble remembering 2 words at the same time. Entrepreneur and restaurateur. I want to say both of those words and I can't remember them both. Can't keep them both in my head at the same time.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's going to help things.